The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so pleased to have on traditional country music artist Joe Rucker with a brand new album out, Taking a Walk with Friends. Joe, it's good to have you on.
Eric, great to be here. Glad to
You know, you and
see
I have bumped into each other so many times all over Nashville, whether it's been at shows, charity events, so many things. And I told you, it's like going, when you come out with your next album, you're coming on the show.
Right, and I haven't forgotten that, have I?
Well, you know what? It's so much fun listening to these this album you did, though. And once again, going into your traditional country roots, but also this is on Heart of Texas Records.
Right, and you see I've got my Heart of Texas shirt on today. You know, I really love everything about this label. Tracy Pitcox and the folks at Heart of Texas, they are really helping to keep the traditional sound alive.
Right.
And, you know, I love all music, and I love all aspects of country music. But I think that preserving the traditional sound, you know, I always tell people there's room for all of it.
Totally.
You know? And so I'm glad there's a space, and this is where my heart is anyway, with the traditional sound. It's what I grew up on. And so I really have found my musical home with Heart of Texas Records.
Well, you know, and once again, Joe, you and I had talked in the past where, you know, when you came into Nashville in the 90s, and certainly you've played a lot of different, you know, country music styles and everything else, but it seems like you came back home to the traditional sound. Plus, you know, some great guests on here. You got Marty Raybon, you know, from Shenandoah. You got Eddy Raven. You got Margie. You got Jeannie. It's like going, you know, it's like you just called in all your friends to do the duets.
Well, I tell you what, I've been blessed, Eric, to get to know and work with all of these folks and some legendary artists, and I'm just tickled pink that they would even agree to come in the studio with me. You know, and I didn't really have to pay them anything to do it, so that's even better.
But it means you're going to have to do that for them then too.
That's right.
You know, it's all those favors get called back.
That's right. But we, you know, the title track, Taking a Walk, was written by my friend Hank Adam Lachlan, who's the son of Hank Lachlan.
Right.
And, you know, it was just a natural choice. You know, we were trying to think of a title for the record. And Taking a Walk with Friends, you know, just seemed to kind of fall in line with that. So it turned out great, and man, I'm just so pleased with everything on it. You know, we have mostly Texas musicians. We cut it down there in Brady, Texas.
I was going to ask, because, you know, you and I were talking about Tracy also doing such a great job with Texas musicians and keeping traditional country alive. And then he set up that museum and everything. And so, you know, you're playing down there a lot. So you're bouncing between Nashville and Texas.
Right, right. I really, these days, it seems like my musical home is more so in Texas than it is here, although I still play here. But Justin Trevino produced that record, who's a legendary Texas artist himself. And man, what an ear he has!
It's a great mix
for that sound, you know? And the twin fiddles and the steel guitar and everything just is very tastefully done. And, I'm just ecstatic at the sound we got out of it.
Well, you know, and going through the album, listening to the songs too, there were so many favorites. You know, Without You with Jeannie C. Riley. You know, I certainly, one of my favorites, Bermuda Shorts with Eddy Raven. I'm sorry, it's just a fun song.
Now that's a song that we had in the can already that we included on the record, and you know, Eddie's been a hero of mine ever since I can remember, and to have him come in the studio a few years ago and sing with me on that song was beyond an honor. And it's a little tongue-in-cheek thing, but, but it's a fun thing.
It is fun. It is fun. And also, you know, I was going to bring up, you know, Mama's Rockin' Chair with Marty Raybon, you know, and Marty's voice and yours blend so well together, but, you know, with everything that he's done with Shenandoah, you know, just an iconic voice in country music.
Well, you know, Marty came from the same area I grew up in Florida, in Central Florida. And I can remember, you know, growing up, my folks had a little gospel group, and we would sing at barbecues and churches and things. And way back then, this would have been in the very early 80s, so I was maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
He had a bluegrass group down there.
Yep.
And that's where he really cut his teeth, is in bluegrass. And I remember him, you know, I remember overhearing a conversation about him saying he's going to Nashville and just to see what happens. And of course, you know, the rest is history. But he's just, what a great guy he is. Right. And I was so honored that he came in, and the actual song that Mama's Rocking Chair was a song that my dad wrote.
Wow.
About the plight of the American farmer several years ago.
What great history.
And so I'm
So you
honored.
came from a whole family of musicians. You really couldn't get out of it, Joe.
Right. I tell you what, it's the old story that everybody tells about falling asleep in the guitar case. Well, I never fell asleep in one, but I sure did play around in one a lot.
Right, right.
My dad was always opening his guitar case, and he'd see Legos and Matchbox cars and things, and be like, "Hey, I know who's been in here,"
Oh, that's so funny.
but-
Well, and the family has to be proud of you now also with, the success and everything that you've had, and coming out with this brand new album in October. We were talking that there's going to be some more singles coming off of it, possibly, particularly with Burning Brady Down,
Yeah.
in the reference to Brady, Texas, to where there may be a music video.
Yeah, we're talking about that. I had the idea for that song, and I just wanted to say thanks to the folks of Brady, because
Right.
they've been so good to me over the last few years, and I've grown quite a bit of fan base in that region.
Mm-hmm.
And so what more to say thanks than write them a song about burning their town down?
That lets them know the warmth that you have for Brady.
Well, yeah, that's right. Country music has got to be, you got to have a murder ballad of some sort.
Of course. It's just like
is-
bluegrass music.
That's
There's
right.
no happy bluegrass music.
So it wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Right.
But we think it's a good story song, and might make a good video.
I think so. Definitely listening to it. I was going to bring up too, to where this may come out on vinyl, because they may, even, you may have a record plant in Brady, Texas coming.
Yeah, I'm hearing that there's one that's going to be coming to that area, and the thought is that maybe down the line, Tracy might go back and put some of his older projects on vinyl, and so we might end up doing
Well,
that.
and like I was telling you before we came in studio, Joe, I think Tracy needs to go ahead and launch his own radio station or streaming channel or something.
Wouldn't that be great?
Just with Heart of Texas
You listening,
artists.
Tracy?
You know what I'm saying? It's like what a great deal, because I've certainly seen some of the showcases here in Nashville when they brought up the Texas artists here to perform.
Right. Every year they have what's called a Heart of Texas Roadshow, and they bring 2 busloads of folks from Texas up that tour Nashville, and then they put on one heck of a show.
it's
and
amazing.
we've always got the legendary Texas artists like Tony Booth and Daryl McCall, which both of those.
It's like a mini
man.
Opry to me. That's what I thought whenever I
I
attended
love
it.
those package shows, man. You get up there and you sing your 2 or 3 songs,
Right.
but in every artist, you'll see them in the wings watching the rest of the show.
Wow.
Because we genuinely have this admiration and respect for each other.
Well, speaking of which, I was going to bring up, because I know that you're already looking at 2025 for tours and everything else, Joe, and you're going to be playing the big festival in Texas in March, 10-day festival. You and I were talking, it's like a mini CMA Fest.
It really is, and it's in the middle of March. I think it starts around the 15th. Don't quote me on that, but we'll make sure you have the right dates. but Gene Watson will be down there.
Right.
Of course, all the Heart of Texas guys, myself, Tony Booth, and Daryl McCall, and those folks.
Yeah.
Also, Mo Bandy will be down there as well. So it's going to be a fun time in March. So come down and see us in Brady, Texas. If you don't get enough music here, you can always go south to Texas.
Yeah, get a little more Texas music, and also you're going to be doing some of the nights also, some of the dance nights and performing.
Yeah, we've got a dance that I'm headlining on that Sunday night. So it'll be a fun time.
You know what? And listening to your new music, and certainly I've listened to your past songs and everything else, Joe, and your previous albums that you've launched. But it seems to me like this would be a fun tour to take overseas and do kind of a European tour as well.
And we're going to we're looking into releasing a single over in Europe, and so we're hoping that I had some success early on when I first came to town overseas with a lot of airplane things.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that this catches on over there. We've had such a great response because I think people are in the mood for great traditional sounding country music, and like I said, I love it all. But
do I.
but this is where my heart is,
Right.
and I think it comes through
Well, and it also works well with a Grammar acoustic guitar because you're kind of giving that nod to traditional country.
I tell you,
with those Grammar guitars that were made for the big country
I've got
artists.
you know about my Grammar guitar. I've got that's my baby. You know,
Right.
it's
so that won't be going overseas.
no. It's
Probably taking a guild for that.
Yeah, probably so. But I've got that first year Grammar, and everything I write and everything that I do, my work tapes are on. That's the go-to guitar for me.
And it's part of Nashville history.
It is. It's got a lot of soul.
Yeah, so amazing. Well, I want to make sure also, with everything you've got going, Joe, and I love this entire album, and I know a lot of people are going to be adding it to the playlist, and certainly you've got your Spotify artist location also. But where do they need to go for your website to find out about all the shows, everything else you've got going on? I know it's available on CD and obviously on digital, but for website, social media, everything Joe Rucker, where should they go?
They can go to joerucker.com, and it's easy enough. You'll find everything. You'll find way more than you ever want to know about Joe Rucker on joerucker.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook, Joe Rucker Music, and even got we're dabbling in TikTok now, so you can go to Joe Rucker Official on TikTok. And,
I'll have to check it out.
And we put some of the live performances up there, and just trying to delve into that here recently, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, I think this new album is definitely going to put you in the right direction. You can tell your heart's in this. Taking a Walk with Friends, Joe Rucker. It's on Heart of Texas Records. Be sure and add him to your playlist, but also go see Joe live. Check out his website and social media, and grab a copy of the CD, hopefully on vinyl.
Yes.
And going to have some cool merch and T-shirts too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just checking because it seems like it would lend itself to it, besides that awesome jacket you have.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm really not as blue as I look.
Wait, is there a song? Yes, there is. House of Blue Lovers. It's right here.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great having you on the show, and congratulations.
Thanks,
Joe.
Eric. Nice to be here.
Be sure and check out the new album.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.